everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Guile treatment. GenCon's coming up. We've had a lot of big news, or at least
Biggest
the hints of big news.
The biggest news ever.
So, some new licenses, some other stuff, and I guess we just sort of wanted to break it down. We just had a PTC. We don't have too much coming up. Until you're right. The set is now coming out at the end of August.
Yep.
Yu Hakusho. So,
Yep.
I think it's a good time to just go over some news and I guess maybe some predictions because I think we'll know a lot more by
the time this episode comes out, which will be Thursday.
Chris, you're going to get
Yeah, I'm leaving Friday after work and just going for Saturday I got to interview Jason and talk to him about how he got this thing because he says it's a great story. So I'm gonna interview him. And we're gonna put it on the show. We're gonna put it on the channel, and
there you go.
I have dinner with him. I got some
record.
I got some plans, and not really schemes, but I got some plans for some stuff to talk to him about because I really want to know. Because I've heard a lot of scuttlebutt about everything that's supposed to be happening on the Discord, on Facebook. There's people just shouting out a bunch of different shit, and I gotta hear it from the man himself. So, and that's the only way to get official announcements is from Jasco proper and not just word of mouth.
Give him the platform. Put that camera in front of him.
I am.
Sit between two ferns.
As long as he doesn't do the song and dance that he did about the meta being fine. As long as he doesn't do that, I'm fine. So no song and dance.
The meta is fine right now.
Oh no, we're not here to talk about that. This is back when Bebop first came out, and he said he did that, and he got a lot of flack for that. But GenCon's coming up. I know we got Yu Hakusho stuff. We'll talk about Rando towards the end of the episode because he's really. Actually, Yu Hakusho's been kind of taking a back seat right now to GenCon, and
that's surprising.
Well, I'm not surprised either. Everyone knows because all the stuff that's been out this week. We have the flyers scrolling by on the side of the screen. My Hero is coming to UFS / UniVersus, which we'll get to later. But GenCon's going to be
the My Hero Academia collectible card game
is coming. There you go. GenCon's a big deal this year. I was told, I had a conversation with Jason a few weeks ago, just to preface this discussion about, I'm like, so what's going on at GenCon? And he's like, you should go. And I'm like, I don't go to GenCon. There's nothing going on for UFS there, and there's nothing going on. He's like, no, you should really go, because if you don't go, you're going to regret not going. This year especially. Fast forward to last week where we found out, because we'd been discussing after the Yu Hakusho card game came out, and then they were talking about this giant license that was supposed to come out, and it was one of two things. I had one of two things. It was either DC Comics or My Hero Academia. Holy shit, guys. I am 2 for 2 on guessing licenses for this stuff.
He's like, I just put out the stuff that I hear the rumors about. And, oh my gosh!
No, we also did the fan set before all this stuff even started rumor milling.
And over a year ago now.
We started doing the fan set about a year ago, and it finally came out later this past winter and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's on TTS and all that stuff. But anyway, it's super awesome because it's one of the giant I don't watch a lot of anime, but it's the biggest,
number one
anime in the world right now. How he got this license, I will find out because I will find out. Stay tuned. I'm going to find out. I'm going to get the story because I need to know this because from rumors I heard it wasn't incredibly hard that Jason worked his magic and that's how he got Mortal Kombat. Warner Brothers did not want to give him this license and somehow according to Shane, Jedi mind tricked their asses, and he got the license. So, for whatever people say about him, man, the guy can acquire IPs. He can run a business. He's doing fantastic right now. Kudos to Jasco for getting.
He's hot, dude. Scott Sutton made a props video for him.
Dude,
he's
hot. He's on fire right now. But yeah, dudes. So I'll be there at GenCon to collect all the info I can. I probably won't be able to do a live stream because I don't have that much data. And their Wi-Fi sucks. So stay tuned for the video, which will probably come out the day I get back. So which will be Saturday night or Sunday. So anything else you guys want to talk about GenCon before we move on to?
I mean, I won't be there.
Well, we know that. Barrett, you're not going to make it either, right? I figured. Okay. So
I've never been. I've been asked. I think I was asked to Jasco always like volunteers and stuff for it.
Nobody asked me.
They obviously see a bunch of them. So,
yeah, according to the Legendary Wolf video, Miles said that they were allowed to give some snippets. They're going to turn the Jasco booth into UA High, and they're all cosplaying as students. They have the jumpsuits, the I think the training festival jumpsuits, the blue and white ones, and then Shane has let it slip that he's going to be Todoroki. So he's ordered a wig and he's painting his face so like everyone's gonna be a character. I am so hoping Miles is All Might. I want him to be All Might so bad because he has the voice for it. He can project. He can just be like, "I'm here" and all that stuff.
That'll be quite a wig.
It would be quite a wig, yes. But maybe that's why he shaved his head because of the wig.
So he could fit it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, mind blown. Here we go. So. They're turning that in. They're going to be doing a bunch of demos. They're going to be doing demo tournaments. The plan is that My Hero Academia is probably going to the goal is this is going to, like we hear about this every set. This is the set that's going to launch UFS. This is the set. This is the set. I believe this is the set that's going to just, like, our numbers are going to grow just because of the IP. What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I think it still comes down to marketing. Like, you know, I just IPs like get you so far, but it's still just one of those things like people have to know about it. People have to ask their stores about it. Like, so, you know, it's like I know that this has been shared some, so like that at least gets like some traction. I think in some ways like marketing is like tougher in like this day and age because everything's so segmented. You know, you almost have to find how you're going to get this before the eyes of the people that like you want to see it.
I know that their Twitter account has been the most active in the last week than it's been in 2 years.
Yes,
which is crazy. Which is good because that means someone is at the helm using it, and that's the important thing.
I think one of the good things too is that I do agree with Rob. Like, you can have whatever IP you want, but like, it is like, how do you get that in front of people's eyes? But I think the fact is that because this IP is so massive, people are doing the work for them as well as whatever they do plan on doing advertising wise. Yeah. I think it's obviously very smart they're bringing this to GenCon, which has over 100,000 people going to it all the time. So it's not even like this year if how many people show up, but next year when they go back to GenCon and they still have My Hero and they go back the next year and they still have more people. Like, I don't even, it's like, it's not like overnight we're going to double in size.
No,
I think it's so, like, but like over the course of 2-3 years with this license, plus if he has this license, what else can
seriously
come? What else could come? Like, so just like maintaining stuff like that, I think this is the beginning where like we talk about like Bebop being the beginning of like a huge meta shift. Like, we are now balls deep into that. Like, you know, like all these sets or these same power level, all these characters, like our meta's great, right? And this set comes in at this really good time frame, I think, where the game's at. Like, that's crazy because you get a bunch of players and then the environment for them to join is healthy.
Yeah, very true.
Which people still want to play a good game mechanically, which is really cool for the competitive scene, which is really cool for just like the future prospects of like this being a top even like 10 card game.
Yeah, I know that.
Right, so
who was it? I think it was Jason again in one of our phone conversations. I usually talk to him like maybe like one. I like to touch base with him every couple weeks, and he's like,
"We get it. Your weekly phone sex. We get it.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah, exactly. Whatever." He said that he couldn't let it slip at the time. It was like, this IP we have coming up should launch us into that top 4, maybe not top 3 because I don't know. We'll need something. We would need Marvel, I think.
I think top 4 is a little even hard.
Yeah, I would say at least top 10 for sure.
But I think so Cardfight Vanguard's like the board, like the shaky number 5 game, right? And over the course of give it like a year, 2 years, 3 years, I bet you we could be number 5.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
I would
actually actually do it.
Well,
out of curiosity, because I don't know. I mean, I presume the top 3 is Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and
Pokemon. And then DBS has now shot up as 4.
Yeah, but that's a Bandai game, and they'll probably kill it anyways. And, so that's what happens. So, you know.
And then you have Vanguard.
And like I've heard Final Fantasy is not in a good spot now either. Everything's getting power crept. Yeah, I know.
It's
I know.
Top 10, but it's not like
it's not.
It's where Buddy Fight is. Like people play the game, but it's not everywhere. Even like the Star Wars game is still have legs and stuff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of smaller stuff out there, but this should be the one. This I'm overly, as you call me, overly optimistic about this.
Cautiously optimistic.
I'll be honest. I think one of the best ideas I've heard was, I don't know if other people were saying it. I know like Scott was. Is that they definitely have like a relationship right now going on with like Funimation between like Yu and
My Hero and Bebop.
And like My Hero.
Yeah.
And even if they just have like their little spots on like the because I know they said that they shared this on like the Funimation page, and so like that's sort of a nice thing. It's like I don't remember seeing like Namco sharing like Soul Calibur or like
or NetherRealm.
Like NetherRealm talking about like
or Capcom
like right or any of that. So like the fact that like Funimation is like even themselves sort of like, hey, like we have a partner like game like that's coming out. Like if there were even like little spots on their like streaming service, like that goes a long way to even just. And I have no idea if that would happen. It's more just like that would be a good idea.
Yeah, it would be.
I even brought it up too. Because Vice Schwartz is my other game that I play, and Vice Schwartz advertisements show up on Crunchyroll if you're like watching.
Didn't Vice Schwartz have like an ad with like Mila Jovovich at one point?
So like I don't know the people or stuff, but I just know that like if you watch Sword Art and like you don't pay for like Crunchyroll and so you see the advertisements or whatever, there are Sword Art Online Vice Schwartz advertisements in there, and so it's the same thing here. Like on Crunchyroll, the #1 anime viewing website in the world. If you're watching an episode of My Hero and you don't pay for it, and you're watching episodes for free, and an ad shows up for a freaking card game that has My Hero in it,
you're gonna go buy it.
Our card game.
Yeah.
Like that's putting it in front of people's eyes. That's more advertising than we've ever seen for this card game before.
True. Yeah. Very true.
So like that itself is.
And that's what I think. Like I just think that you need to have some of that. Like you need to have like at least something that's like pushing like awareness outside of like just the social media and just like the reviews or whatever that you'll get on some websites of oh, there's a new set coming out. Like
it's even it's also like, is this the big show or is this the big IP that gets them into retail? Obviously, that takes also like a product shift because the way that they release product right now isn't the best for retail stores, obviously. But is this the one that puts them in retail stores? And that's also how you do it. Like,
it could.
So that some Joe Schmo kid shows up and is like, I love this show and I want to buy some card packs like we all did when we were little kids or whatever for Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever. And like, then they have those cards and then they grow a little bit older and they're like, oh, this is a real game and I can actually play it. And then they become a lifelong player. Like,
right.
So, like, I think this is the start. And I think, like what you were talking about, again, it's all marketing. Well, I think they're making a very big marketing decision for it, which is they're supposedly rebranding our game, which we can segue into.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. So, go ahead. You guys can lead it.
I was going to say, I know that, like, I feel like we've talked about this before, and maybe I'm just like imagining things. Like this is definitely something like I've thought about a lot. I feel like a lot of times that sort of seems like one of the biggest barriers, if you will, to growth for UFS is, I know like I've seen people talk, oh, it's been around for 13 years, blah blah blah, like loyalty, and it's like, yeah, you have loyal like customers, but like you want new customers, and you want stores to carry it. And there are lots of stores that still remember, like, Fantasy Flight and Sabretooth. And when they hear you say UFS, they go, nope. Like, I remember that. I still, you want this? I still have this stuff from, like, Fantasy Flight collecting dust. And so I just think it's one of those things where you're already sort of like eliminating some of the people that want to carry it based on that. And I think that that's the thing is if they sort of talk about like the next level, and I think the next level is changing the name. I think that that's like one of the best things that they could do in order to sort of like get a new audience or sort of like a fresh start.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we go further into it, I want to preface another Jason story real quick. So when their first advertisement for this came out about the My Hero Academia card game, there was the UFS symbol and some random real weird squiggly symbol that we couldn't make out. So what I did was I snapshotted it, sent it to Jason. I was like, hey, what is this? And he just sent me a winky face because that's what he does. He's cryptic in his messages, I guess. So, but then Mike Hardiman pulled up he was able to get a high-res shot of it somehow. And it says UniVersus. And people had no idea what that meant. They were like, is it for the new miniatures game? Because that's taking, maybe they're rebranding that so people don't get it confused with our card game. And so no one knew what was really going on. So
but the poster said collectible card game, and then it was in that corner.
In that corner. So people started thinking, well, or is it like a brand new system? Are they going to have UFS and UniVersus, and they're not going to be compatible? Blah, blah, blah. So I guess it eventually I don't know if it got leaked or spoiled or someone
I think it was more just people started asking a bunch of questions.
And then they answered.
Partial responses.
Partial responses, people put two and two together, and it just led to rebranding.
So that was the thing, right? That was the thing that sort of came up, and I was like, well, maybe they are doing this.
Yeah.
I think it makes the most sense. I mean, it's what I would do. And the question then becomes, like, how do you do it? Like, basically, if you're going to do something like that, like, you're going to have different card backs.
Yep.
You're going to have to, like, if it's going to be compatible, which, they seem to say that it will be.
Yep, they said it's fully compatible.
Right, you just need to play with opaque sleeves, which is no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, everyone pretty much does that anyway.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If all it is like, a name change, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I think that if you're doing something like this, it's basically a relaunch. And if the idea is you want to have this be like really attractive for people that are like just coming in, I really think that you need to have a format that is like, you basically just need to like start over. And I don't think that the answer is like mass rotation necessarily, because then you just alienate all the people that already gave you their money and are still playing. And I think really, and I've heard some whispers of this, and I'm sure there will be more information, but it's like, to me, you almost need to have like like you need to sort of have a format that's going to be the new cards and it's just going to be the new cards.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to like do another format that is the old cards.
I think,
and whether it's both or whether it's just the old cards, like, I don't think that's really too much of a difference.
No.
And I think that you want to basically just do something like that for a couple years. Like, basically, I was sort of saying, like, if it was me, I would have like a format that's just the new stuff. Whenever the break in like card back starts, I don't know if they're going to do it now or if it's just going to be when the new set comes out. Right, like, I don't know if they would do it for Hakusho or if they're really just waiting for Monster Hunter, My Hero Academia. Just thinking of MH.
Ooh, what? Confirmed?
And I talked to Jason too. Don't worry.
It's the fourth set.
Yeah. But yeah, I would just have it where it's just that. You don't have to track down all these sets that are like 2 or 3 years old. You don't have to track down all these singles that are like astronomical if you want to be like competitive. Like, all you need to do is get in right now, like, get these cards and don't worry about it. And then if you want to play in this more like legacy format, then you can worry about getting these older cards. And so what I would do is I would do that. I would sort of have like basically like PTC type events that are going to be like the new format, and then I'd have like a couple, like maybe like one every like 2 months, or maybe like one a quarter or something, that are going to be like the older format for people that still want to play all their old cards.
Sure.
And then and I would just have sort of like Jasco Eternal or whatever, and have that at Worlds, at Nationals, stuff like that. So you still have the really like high level event. And basically after like a year and a half or 2 years, when all this stuff would be rotated anyway, then you basically you don't have to worry about like the smaller events, like, on like quarterly, and you could just have like an event at like Worlds and Nationals, and it sort of like eases the transition for the people that have already invested a bunch of money, but it doesn't sort of like just hamstring these new players by saying like, oh, cool, you like this game, like that's cool. Well, now you get to go buy like a backlog of like 3 years of a game that you never heard about.
From what I've heard is that speaking with people, I can't give sources away. The sets are going to come in one at a time. It's going to rotate normally. So the new backs will be at MHA. Everything else will just rotate. Eventually, like you said, I believe they didn't really give me that's why there's that big push right now for Jasco Eternal, is that as the sets rotate out, you're still going to be able to play those old cards, those Jasco watermarked cards in this format. And then standard will eventually be all UniVersus once all the UFS stuff gets rotated out. There will be no more UFS printed after this year.
Right. And like
UFS branded product.
Well,
so.
But here's the other thing too, is at the same time where, I've seen people sort of commenting and just like, oh, it's just UFS, or, oh, like it's just like a rebrand. I'm like, I don't think you want to sell it as that. No. I think you want to sell it as a new game that happens to have some compatibility with an old game.
Yeah.
Because the point is like, it's not UFS. Like, you don't want it to, like, the whole point is you want it to be like a new
its
game
own thing
that like, other people, people can get into, and they don't have to worry about UFS at all. Like,
it's kind of like
concern themselves with this game. They don't have to track down these cards. Like,
I think the opportunity for this rebrand, I think, does two things. One, it's for the retailer things that we were just talking about. Like you sell it as a new game, and I think what that means too is for this to happen, and this backwards compatibility that even has to happen, even if you brand it as a new game, the LGR needs a huge overhaul, as well as like this chance to make a new game essentially is a way to fix all the spaghetti that exists in the game right now.
Very true.
And what that means is you either need to make the LGR strictly good or work with the new game, which I think is the correct choice. And then all this other spaghetti crap that we had to do for the previous version just disappears. And like, it just doesn't work. And it's just like, listen, I get it, but it's eventually only going to be for Jasco Eternal anyway. So that's the only time you really have to worry about. I know it's kind of like shafts a bunch of people that we were talking about, but like, I think as long as people's current investment into the game, or like you at the end of this week at GenCon, there still needs to be a reason why me as a UFS player there's a reason to buy there has to be a reason for me to buy this set. Or if this doesn't start for the My Hero set, and we don't know what the set that's supposed to come out for November is, but if My Hero doesn't come out till like next year, is there a reason to buy that set? Or like, do I just have to be on hold for this whole game for a while? And it's interesting too because they've already announced how these demo decks are going to be standard legal, like as soon as they come out.
So they have to have some sort of working.
So you're
with
already
the
going to have UniVersus card backs in here, and if they're like changing the wording and like, or like let's say like they went to like symbol looking, so like instead of the word commit, now they just have like little tap thing like they do in Final Fantasy. Like they could do that, like they really could. But like, what if it becomes more like beginner friendly and it looks more advantageous, or like they add new keywords or they take away keywords, like these cards still have to be compatible. And so
I mean, the thing is I'll be honest, like I really like if they are able to sort of like achieve, what we've talked about it, like if they're able to really like take off, make this a big game that like, you can get wherever, that like there's play groups popping up. Like if I have like a store that I can drive to that's like within like 45 minutes or whatever, like in the greater Baltimore area where the people are playing, if that can happen, I literally don't care if they rotate every single UFS card to some sort of legacy format. Like at the same time, they were like, I don't care if they reboot the game from the grounds. If it allows it to be bigger. And even if it's just like a kitchen table compatibility where it's like I can play these cards together if like I want to, or maybe in some sort of like extra format that like is somewhat supported, like it's fine.
When Score
I don't care at all.
when Score rebooted DBZ to GT, all the backs changed. Basically, all the mechanics stayed the same. And they had two formats. They had three formats actually. They had Z format still. They had GT format, and then they had what was called Fusion. It was both of them together, which was insane because card templates changed and older characters weren't as good because they had 5 less power brackets, and it was just a mess. But they handled it pretty good. But it was they just kind of didn't really do a lot of the marketing part like we were talking about. Like they just kind of just shit it out. Like, well, you guys are still buying the game, so here. And they just kept and everyone knew it was coming because because Dragon Ball Z had like a beginning and an end because obviously it had to end at some point.
Right.
So
I think there's another way we could do this, and it sucks because like I don't really like Cardfight Vanguard, but they've recently done this. They did a reboot essentially. They restarted the anime where they're going to follow it to the manga basically. And what that means is they also rebooted the card game. And so when that happened, they came out with essentially 3 formats, but one of them then disappeared and it just merged into the other one. So I think like what Rob was talking about. So you could do this. Like we could really tinfoil it up and be like, when My Hero comes out, it's the only playable set in standard because it's UniVersus.
Right.
But you can play the newer set in Jasco Eternal because it's a Jasco set.
Yeah.
And so in Vanguard scenario, they had a premium format and they had a standard format. When the new first set VBT1 came out, whatever it was the only set in standard. And like they had regional tournaments where that was the only set in standard. There was literally only 4 clans you could play. But you could play that set in premium with literally every other Vanguard card that existed. So, which does 2 things. One, it means you can have the snobs that only want to play premium. Right. So, like, you can have the UFS fanatics that I only want to play UFS, which means these new sets that are coming out are new UFS sets, but you have to always consider the giant card pool of every Jasco set that's ever came out. Right. And then the new standard provides people a fresh start. People that want to just follow with the mechanics and stay with standard. Honestly, it's a cheaper format because you don't have to, because you don't have to worry about the old cards. And
it's easier to get into.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly. And so the way that Vanguard transition is actually exactly how Pokemon works. You have a standard rotation, and then you have the extended format or whatever, which is it's not every set that's ever existed in Pokemon's timeline, but it's up to a benchmark through all of the modern sets. And then for the standard rotation for Pokemon, you have like the 8 or whatever that exists in standard.
See, that's also a good point too, because if they do, let's just say they hard reboot standard to just UniVersus.
Yeah.
You could essentially say, well, we're going to put out 4 sets a year, so we're going to have an 8-set standard. You know?
Yeah.
And that means your cards are good for 2 years or whatever. Which is kind of like how it's on the champ card cycle where your cards are legal for 2 years, and then they just get rotated into Jasco Eternal, which is everything.
Yeah. And there's like a bunch of in between too, like the more recent era of this game anyway is like Bebop, right?
Yeah.
So like
exactly.
it's also post platinum, so you don't have to worry about platinum crap anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, that's when UniVersus comes out, only Bebop and On will be legal, and eventually when we get back to 10 sets, so like Bebop won't rotate when the next set comes out because we have to get back to 10. And then when that 11th set comes out, then we push again. Like, you could do some wonky crap like that too. Like, and the thing is, and I think what the moral is, anyone who's watching this, not everyone's going to be happy no matter what.
Oh yeah. There's people already mad about this already. So about the rebrand and all that stuff.
And I think Jason and I think Jasco knows that, and so I think they are going to do the solution that does make the most people happy, but also provides the best environment for the game for the future.
Sure.
I think what I would do is like, I would. See, I don't even think I'd worry about making the most people happy. I think I would worry about what strategy is like the most likely to like what, like how am I most able to basically like guarantee that this is going to like, or basically it's like how am I going to maximize the chance of this like blowing up?
Yeah.
You know, like I want to cater to the people that I don't really have yet, because like I want to make it attractive to them to start playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I more want to have like, I don't know, like sort of a, you know, whatever, like basically something to give to like my existing players, where it's like you won't necessarily be happy, but I'm gonna like cater to you a bit. You know, I'm gonna make sure that like you aren't totally like screwed. You know, it's
Sure.
like I don't want your cards to be like worthless, but like you know, it's sort of one of those things where it's like, look, guys, like this is what we're doing, and like you know, you're not. I mean, honestly, it's sort of one of those things where like Bebop would have been a good time for like a rebrand, where it's like we're gonna just drop this bomb, and you're going to be unhappy about it for a bit, but now here we are, like, you know, a year and a half later or whatever, and aren't things pretty good? Like, aren't people pretty happy? Like, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
I hated Bebop. Like, I hated everything about it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's because Bebop's not the apex anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. But the other thing, too, is, like, in this case, like, they're basically going to tell you it's coming. You know, they're going to be like, by the way, guys, like, this is about to happen. Like,
and also, to let everyone know, as of recording, we're recording the Sunday before GenCon, so by the time you get this episode, a lot of the stuff we're saying may be moot.
Something could come out, right?
Yeah, so something we all just may just be talking out our ass and be completely wrong. So
that's good content.
Tuesday.
hey! By the time you watch this, everything we said is wrong.
Yeah, most likely.
Like that's the crazy thing too, is because like you have to really think about like how much has this been in the works. If this is really what's been going on, then what's the fucking point of all these PTC promos?
Yeah.
Like, what is this just baby fodder for like if you really wanted to like throw a bunch of shade, it's all like, why are you spoon feeding all of this stuff to us to really get into this game right now? They're buffing up prize supports, they're doing all this thing, all these new products, all these new licenses, all these new IPs. Oh, but you can't play it anymore. Like, I just don't see it.
They're definitely.
I
definitely think they're going to do.
That there's not going to be a format where you can play this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if it was up to me, I don't think it would be my primary format.
No.
And like, I think that does undercut a little bit, like the stuff for like the end of this year.
Yeah.
You know, for people who just got in, it's like, well, do I even want this? Like, I can just wait.
Yeah. Like,
but
that's the thing. My play group is building here in Kansas City because they're super excited for Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
But come next week, they're obviously all very on hype right now that My Hero is also coming to this game. But I don't want to have to, at the end of this week, be like, oh, by the way, guys, if you want to play My Hero, well, Yu Hakusho is not going to work for it.
Yeah.
Because Yu Hakusho is licensed.
I honestly think that they're going to have they're going to do kind of like we'll see, like me and Rob know the Versus system formats, which they could technically do that too, where Golden Age would be your UFS sets, and then Modern Age.
Well, I mean, Golden Age would be basically like Jasco Eternal.
Jasco Eternal, so that'd be everything.
Everything from like you know UniVersus to basically back to what
Red Horizon. Yeah, and then you would do Modern Age, which would be your UniVersus sets, and then you could do a Silver Age, which would be a mixture of the two.
Which would basically be like standard.
Would be like standard. So you would have 3 different formats. You would have your UniVersus format. You would have your 10-set standard, which would just be normal UFS UniVersus rotating 1 in, 1 out.
Man, I'll tell you, this would be a great time to go to an 8-set standard.
I know.
By the way.
I know. This is why. Yeah, and then you have your.
I'm just saying, like forever, like 10 sets.
Oh no, I would be okay with that. And then you'd have your UniVersus format where you'd have 3, and then you could do cardboard events for every one of them. You could do team events for every one of them. You could technically give Rockford you could give us the UniVersus World Championship.
It came out.
Jason, I know you don't watch our stuff, but that's something I'm going to pitch to you on Saturday.
How does it feel that you'll be the largest UFS event and probably always will be?
I'm gonna help Omaha try to break.
Because we're shifting to UniVersus.
Could be. I don't know.
You'll be the largest UFS.
Ooh. But no, but like you could have 3. You could have technically 6 championships for your game, and you won't.
I don't know if I would necessarily do like events in everything.
Well, you don't have to, but you could.
Like a little bit unwieldy, right? But I'm saying like I think it's right. I think it's one of those ones where.
Yo, does my champ card get fucked over?
Well, honestly, like, that's one of the reasons why I would say, like, you need to try to, like, have something for at least, like, a year and a half to 2 years, is because, like, you can't screw over, like, the current champs.
Correct.
Like, you need to have something where you can
Well,
play
because
it.
what? Because that means Ashley's card will probably have a UniVersus template in back.
I mean, so will JJ and
yeah,
Chris Nixon.
Dan Hughes. Anybody who has champ cards pending are going to be.
Dan Hughes, who held his off, like,
ooh, maybe hit inside info.
You'll still be able to make them.
But here's the thing. Like, here's like an actual thing you have to consider. Like, if that new card will be a UniVersus card, but let's say the game does shift. Like, there's different changes, there's different rules, there's different mechanics, and that's not what they wanted.
Yeah.
What do? Do you literally make a champ card that's only for Jasco Eternal?
I mean, I guess if, like, you really
get away with something
like,
busted,
you could probably lobby for it, but
probably. But
it's interesting. It's again, this is all just, and the only reason why we have to sit here and think about it is because we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is there's a lot of people who have a lot of questions that aren't being answered because they can't answer them right now, maybe, or it's just.
And the biggest problem is if this is literally just a change of name.
Yeah.
It will make all of these answers already be answered.
Yeah.
But it won't be the best future for the game.
Yeah.
And so, like, you want all these new things, but then all these other things get complicated.
Yeah.
That's what sucks.
And to me, like, I wouldn't, if I'm trying to sell this, like, if I'm trying to sell UniVersus to, like, a store, like, I don't want to go in, I'm not going to go in and say, this is like, it's just UFS.
Yeah, you don't want to lead with that.
It's like, sell it as this new game. And, and hopefully if you're selling it as this new game, there's, like, a format where you don't have to worry about UFS.
Yeah, very true. And I think that'd be the smartest thing to do. They have to have a UniVersus only format. So yeah, I would think so.
I think so, and I think it's fine. I think they should. Like,
I mean, the thing is,
you could be upset about it, but like, that's probably what is like best for
the game and the company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like, and that's the thing too is like, if they plan on upholding to this incredible set release format, now is the time to do it. So that as soon as you do this overhaul, a bunch of set releases are really going to suck for people's wallets. But like, getting as many sets into this new standard, this new
is the important thing.
This new format, this new game is the best way to do it.
Yep. All right. So speaking of, we alluded.
Show.
Well, no, we alluded to it that there are going to be demo decks and promos at GenCon. Everyone's kind of heard about it. They're going to be demoing UniVersus at GenCon. They're going to be demo tournaments. I'm playing in the Saturday morning at 9 a.m. one with Trent and I believe Ben Lambright is. Garrett Brett's there. A lot of us are just we want to see what it's about. So I'm pretty sure on Thursday, all the cards will be spoiled from these demo decks because people are going to take pictures and post them. They're giving away a Bakugo character card, All Might character card, and a Midoriya character card as promos. Alternate arts so far is what people are speculating.
I thought they were saying that, like, I don't know. I thought that the characters weren't necessarily like the alt art promos. I thought it was like Plus Ultra.
No, Plus Ultra is the giant card they're giving away to the winner of the demo tournament.
Oh,
that's
okay.
not even. That's not even in the. As far as I know, that's not even in the demo deck, or it's in the demo deck, and all the demo decks have it, but they're giving away that.
It's like a sneak peek at like a card in the set.
Yeah.
Right?
So the characters are the promos that they're giving away. So luckily it's not like an attack or a foundation, so really all you need is one promo of each. But no one knows how many demo decks you need to get a full set because these cards are legal after GenCon. So there is some, I guess it can alleviate some concerns if the game is going to be backwards compatible. So that's good. So that means you can play them right away. So that means they must have the same mechanics. I also heard that they're not the final printings of some of the cards, that some of them may change with the actual release of My Hero Academia. I've heard that too, which is fine.
That's just an errata, basically.
Just an errata. So then you technically have super alt art cards of these cards, so they're even worth more. Oh my gosh, gasp for you collectors. What do you guys think about them? Oh, also for people who are asking, they are going to be shipping all the demo decks around the country to the Premier stores and anybody who carries UniVersus or /UFS to get people interested in the game and demoing, because I know a lot of people at my local
we
store.
haven't had demo decks since Mega Man.
Yeah. So that could also be why the Reese and the Caden ones have been pushed back. Why DLCs?
I mean, are they pushed back or are they just done?
As much as I've heard,
I'm gonna say they're probably done.
I don't think they're happening.
I don't think they're happening.
I think they might eventually happen, but I think the point was that when they got a hold of this license, it was like
they need to put
those down.
Yeah.
Let's start out.
Same thing with DLC, because DLC would be a perfect time to rebrand other IPs. So you you make them all UniVersus, because as we've seen on some of the character cards,
that's such a good idea, Chris. You should work for Jasco.
Do I? The templates have changed. Like the vitality counter is now a heart. Some of the like the action plus ultra has a little like they all have the little lightning bolt, but now it's
what it is.
Now it's on top. Maybe that could be just because of the template of the card, but promo or whatever. Or that's just
you don't have to do like color coded stuff anymore.
It's because it still is. It's still a blue lightning bolt in the top corner, so it's still.
And you can see like a bit of the text box is blue.
It's like blue still. So and the characters aren't really purple anymore, so that may just change based on what set it is. So, but it looks like things are going to be okay. They're going to try to make this as smooth of a transition as possible. So that's why they're really pushing this at GenCon. They got 10,000 demo decks, I've heard. Don't know about promo allotment. I'm hoping to get promos in my hands, because I'm that's the one thing I'm afraid of. People are obsessed with this anime, so they may just cycle through over and over again. And everyone's really worried about getting these promos because they're standard legal. Luckily, they're just alt arts. But
I gotta say, the other thing too is like I've definitely seen people like, oh, they're gonna have like Gen Con only promos, and then like you're gonna have to get them to like guys.
Redemption,
I am 99% sure that these are just gonna basically be like alternate art of like whatever comes out in the set. Like
almost
and even if they aren't, like, you know, Ryu 2 was a Gen Con promo, like Scorpion 2 is a Gen Con promo, and like nobody had Ryu 2 is banned, but
they were all
they're
all on redemption
really
list
trouble,
anyways.
Like tracking those down. Yeah. And they were up for like redemption. Like you'll be able to find this.
Yeah, just people are panicking because it's the big thing, and people are doomsayers. So
yeah, you could probably buy one for $50 on one of the single sites, like whatever.
Or just tap someone who's there to have you pick one up, because I guess you get them for demoing and for participating in the demo tournaments, and the demo tournaments are scheduled to be 3.5 hours long, so 3 rounds most likely. Yeah.
Man, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, but I mean that's the time frame they have the tables, so it could take longer or shorter. So you may get a promo every round, or a promo every demo, so you may just have to cycle through the demo for a little bit, which isn't that bad. If you know how to play UFS, you just play the demo and you just have fun and just try to enjoy the stuff, try to read the cards and all that fun stuff. So, so that's pretty exciting. We already talked about the rebrand. We talked about My Hero. Do we want to go into UU? Are we done talking about Gen Con stuff? Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Yeah, because all of our answers are going to get answered, and this video might be a waste of time.
You know what, though? Let me do this. I'll try to pull some Midnight Oil, and I'll get it done tonight and put it out tonight, so people can hear us ramble about stuff to see if we're right or wrong. So,
but what will matter in this video?
Yes.
Rando.
Yeah, because Barrett wants to talk about him. So let's do this.
You know what?
Yeah. What?
As we talk about Rando, though, I just want to say, I've seen some people like a little confused. I know that they talked about like who's gonna get guiled, or like the community guiled, like so.
Oh yeah, okay. We need to talk about this. Let me go to the bathroom while you talk about this. I have to pee really bad, so go ahead. You talk about it.
While we here at the Guile treatment appreciate the unsolicited shout-outs of the official Jasco page, I just want to say that they're not using it correctly. The Guile treatment is sort of a joke. Like, we just used it. I don't think we really thought that, we'd be here, like a year or two later, like still doing this. So maybe it's a little dated now. But when Street Fighter was first getting spoiled, they had a similar release where they say, who do you want to see next? And one of the names that came up the most was always Guile. And they never actually revealed Guile. The only time, like, basically when Guile got shown, it was someone the day of Worlds. And they had gotten, like, promos from Jasco for helping them set up. And they got a Guile, like, promo. And they took a picture of it and posted it to, like, the Facebook groups.
It was
and so that was, like, when we first finally saw Guile. After, like, you know, we're like, oh, we want to see Guile. And they're like, here's Blanca. Oh, like, we really want to see Guile. And they're like, oh, here's, like,
and
you know, like Sakura. And it's just like, So, when they talk about now, like, oh, well, you know, this person didn't win the poll. That's not getting Guile.
Now, see,
that's not what people wanted to see. Getting Guile would be, who do you want to see, Botan or Kuwabara? And everyone goes, oh, I want to see this. And then they show you that Tiger guy that's already lost 2 polls that obviously no one cares about.
Exactly.
Is it Reiko or something?
It's Bianca.
That would be, it would be like, oh, you want to see Kuwabara? Cool. Here's that Tiger guy.
Yep. And then you know what?
Here's like Haye or whatever, who like no one's even like talked about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So we're close, but it's not.
They're
really
missing. The point is they're missing the actual reason behind it,
which is good because you don't like. It's not a good thing.
No.
You don't want to not give the people what they want.
Yeah.
But
also, I believe Botan is winning the vote by a very, very slim margin.
Went to 49%.
It's very close. It was like 3 votes. It was like a 3 votes difference as of yesterday, I believe.
Definitely vote on Kuwabara. Forget Botan. It's gonna be like some crappy Sakura knockoff.
Who knows? So
So
Rando. Yep.
I have it up. You want me to read it?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
All right. He's a 630, all Chaos Evil, enhance once per turn. Remove 1 attack in your opponent's discard pile.
It's a form.
From the game. It's a form. You're right.
It's a form.
Form once per turn.
There you go.
Remove an attack in your opponent's discard pile from the game. Play 1 card from your hand into your card pool face down as a copy of the removed attack, with 1 resource symbol of your choice, following all restrictions and paying all cards.
Did you make this card, Bear?
No, I did not. This is Ash 2, but removes it from your opponent's discard pile.
Yeah. Ash had a lot. Ash was actually a really cool deck because it always played your opponent's best attack against them, which is awesome.
But the cool thing about this one, Ash, every single turn, as long as that card was in your discard pile, could play it over and over and over and over and over again. Rando removes it, which is cool because your opponent doesn't have it in their deck or discard pile anymore. But he can't do it again on the same card.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Oh. Unless we play evil and we play the Suzaku card that puts a card on our opponent
at the top of their deck. Yeah.
From game pile back up their deck.
Oh, you tricksy boy, you.
Moving enhance, discard on momentum. Your attacks get +1 speed and +1 damage for the rest of the turn. If your opponent is at desperation, your checks get +1 for the rest of the turn.
So they're punishing. They're doing like an all's like sub theme now is punishing people into deadlock with like Yoshimitsu cards.
Chaos has it too.
Oh, Chaos does it too. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, they both do it. So yeah.
It's both, right? Because all gives stats, or Chaos does check things.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's both of them.
Yeah.
So.
He's freezing.
Oh,
His laptop is dying. Is your laptop dying? Oh
no.
You're freezing every now and then, so you're good. You're back. You're good.
All right. So yeah, I think he's really cool. 630 is also really easy, and he like we said, he punishes your opponent at being at desperation. So you can also play the Yoshimitsu stuff, but he himself never has to be at desperation to benefit at all from it.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. I also like that.
I gotta say, I saw people that were just like, this guy's broken. I can't believe it. He's insane. And it's just like, guys.
He's average.
Look at this character.
Then look at Grow.
Then go look at Grow. And then look back at this character.
Yeah.
He's not better than Grow.
No.
He's not.
No. Grow has better symbols than him, too, by the way.
He has some potential. You know, it's like maybe they have a really good attack that you want to copy. Like, sure. But the other thing, too, is like the fact that like the stat bonus and like potentially check bonus costs like a momentum. Like you have to have 2 momentum to pitch to get to like what Grow does for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
that is the cool thing is like
holy shit! Like you better hope that your opponent does not have like telekinetic mastery, or
Oh God,
you have a
this
win
guy
deal
loses hard
because-
to that so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a like it's also a thing. You're right. Like you can stack it on enhances. So obviously this character looks really good with multiple copies of stuff, but you have to also have the momentum to do it right.
Yeah.
So like hopefully when we get to his card support, that kind of effect it doesn't exist on his support. So characters like I don't know, Faye can't use it.
Yeah.
It gets a ton of momentum. So anyway,
All right.
Moving on. Hate Fish is a 4 difficulty 3 check, 1 low for 7. It's a 2 low block. Ally and safe attack. Enhance. Double the next speed or damage bonus this attack receives. Only playable if this card is immediately
Preceded by an attack card or face down card as he freezes. So
Okay, fine. You read them.
That's fine. E, if your opponent is at desperation, this attack gets 2 speed. There we go. We finished it. Yeah, teamwork. Yeah. It's pretty. It's statted very nicely.
I mean, it has a ton of damage.
It does have a ton of damage. Yeah, for a low. Yeah. Who cares about that one speed? Who cares? No one gives a crap. So.
I mean, this is a little bit like what's called like Nutcracker.
Yeah,
but it's more just like, okay, can you like are you someone that can give it speed?
Yeah.
You know, someone like Guile is going like this.
Oh gosh,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll give it like
4 speed.
I'll say my next speed bonus doubles. I'll give it 3 speed. 6 speed.
It's 6 speed now.
So, yeah.
So,
and I'll gain some life. Yeah.
And it's safe.
Sure.
For some random reason, it's safe. I don't know why. I don't know what Hate Fish does in the show. So.
It's like one of those things too, where like Vicious can play a card like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he not only punishes you for not blocking it, but then he also just gave it 4 damage. So.
Oh yeah, it's a 1 low for 11 in him. That's pretty cool.
1 low for 11. It's like it's not very fast, but like if it touches.
Do you have a low block?
Yeah. You have a low block, then you're taking 6. Yeah.
And that's the thing is like all low Vicious already exists. So like you could just do it anyway. So
I mean, and the ally is kind of like a cool thing to have too. I mean, I don't think this is like what Dr. Wily needs to be super relevant again, but like it sure doesn't hurt.
Oh, at a 9, at a 9 can play it too. Yeah.
And right. I was getting there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's actually really good in all Ed 9. Ed 9 just doesn't give stats, but in all we can play Punch and GD.
No,
and then we double them whichever one we pick.
Just don't. Because your opponent's not going to have a hand anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
This is your last attack.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Hand hack character with this card?
Yeah, pretty good. All right. Moving on. Life Force Thread. 5 difficulty, 3 check, no block. Range throw for you awesome 2 keyword people. E, if this attack has received a speed and damage bonus, your next attack gets 3 speed, 1 damage. E, if this attack is not blocked, you add the top card of your deck to your momentum. It's a 4 mid for 8.
I don't know why this is 8 damage.
I have no idea why. Yeah.
This card's crazy. Okay, so everything that was good, everything that's good about Swallow Your Soul, this card just does it for 1 more difficulty.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can gateway shuffle this one.
Oh, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can gateway shuffle this, yes.
This is super fun for like Yamada, man.
Oh my god.
It's like I'll give this like 3-1 and my next one gets 3-1 and then I'll give it 3-1 on top of it. Sure, why not?
Yeah. So there was who else was saying about something about this card off of all. It wasn't Cassie. It was another character who could be playing this card really well. Oh, Guile can do it too.
And anybody?
Yeah,
literally.
Guile,
This
anybody.
one and the last one only have 2 keywords. So Guile gives it 3 speed. With the last one, Guile gives it 6 speed. So like. Yeah, you're right.
So Guile has to find a way. It kind of has the same caveat as Stretch Kick, where it has to have a speed and damage. So you just got to find a way to give it like 1 damage, and then you're off to the races with him again. So yeah. So Garrett Brett getting support for your deck. Damn you.
This doesn't have a block. Garrett wouldn't run it.
No, it's true. He hates non-block attacks. That's very true.
Okay, but like Swallow Your Soul has a +4 on it. Like
it doesn't have a block yet.
They both don't have blocks.
They both have blocks. Yeah.
Hey, that thing can block Hate Fish.
It can.
On out of 5.
It
No
can.
problem.
Yes, it can.
You got me.
He got you right there. All right, next game. Next one, his ultra rare attack, Rando's Spirit Gun, 5 difficulty, 2 check, +1 mid block, 5 mid 5, charge, EX, powerful 4, ranged. Damn, it's a lot. E. This attack, if this attack has received a speed and damage bonus, it gets +2/+2, so it's 2 speed, 2 damage. E. You may play once per turn abilities on your character a second time this turn. Only playable if this card is immediately preceded by an attack or face down card. So,
This card opens the game up very large.
so can we talk about the wording first? Because I know that Rob has an issue usually with immediately preceding or precedes. So do you want to...
Dude, I'm so mad.
So, if you
I'm
want-
so mad about immediately proceeding
Yeah.
after the rules define like singular proceeding as meaning immediately proceeding.
So
And I guess this is one of those things where it's like, oh well, this is just so they don't have to look at the LGR and they can see. It's just like, I guess, but then
Yes,
this
it
just
still
then
yes.
the problem is that then this makes every single card that you've already printed that just says proceed,
Proceeding.
like Rikuo or like
which is
what's,
rotating
like Victor.
with this set.
Like, I mean, I guess these are cards that are now starting to rotate,
Yeah.
but it's like cards like that where they just say is preceded by. Okay, well, what does that mean? Does it mean like this card says
It
immediately
could be
preceded?
because UniVersus is going to be more of a universal type thing, so it's going to have immediately
Listen,
preceded now.
I don't care about UniVersus, okay? I care about the LGR, what it says, the fact that it already defines this,
Yes.
and this is a superfluous word that is going to make other cards confusing because they don't have it.
I get you. I understand that.
So, also, like, the real question is
Why does it
how
have a Guile
the
symbol on
once
it?
per
Because it's
turn
charged?
works, and whether it's just like cards that have once per turn in brackets, or is it going to work for stuff like Melina or Dimitri that just say every ability on this character is playable once per turn, whether it lets them play those a second time. And that's going to basically be up to like Jasco and a ruler.
Yeah. I think it's mainly, though, the quoted specific kind of
brackets.
thing where it's like any character that has bracket once per turn can do their once per turn ability again, which we should dive into those. Mike Hardiman 2-Dot,
Kolkan.
Kodokan, Nightmare,
You can have
pick up
Kolkan
another
on
attack,
there. Yeah.
Taki,
Taki would be
Yoshimitsu,
neat.
Cassie Cage.
Sure.
She doesn't like 2 checks.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Because I was saying this a lot. Now I don't know. So does this even work for Sheepman then? Because his is bracket, like your turn once per turn.
It's still...
I don't
know.
That one's
Yeah, I don't
weird.
know.
Oh, that's right.
Plant Man.
Ooh, Plant Man would be neat. Man, there's a lot of options there.
There's actually a lot of options.
That's cool. Rando. You forgot about Rando.
Well, obviously, that's why it's his card.
Yeah, I know.
Dimitri? No,
Oh,
never mind. Never mind.
Never
That's
mind.
the wrong.
Katana. Katana.
I gotta say though, for all this, you know what my favorite part about this card is?
Mm.
It's that Rando is alphabetically before Yusuke. So anytime someone tries to use the card bot to look up Yusuke's spirit
It's going to
gun,
come up to this one?
it's going to return this one instead because it comes before it in the set, and it can, and like the entire name spirit gun is contained with it. So nothing that you put in is going to ever get you the regular spirit gun for the card bot.
So they should have named it Yusuke's Spirit Gun.
Oh no, I don't care.
Oh,
No,
I'm just
doesn't-
saying. So yeah. Okay.
Rip card bot.
But what makes me, I think the worst crime of all is that it's a charge attack that doesn't have a Guile symbol. I know. But still.
Matter. It has a pea shooter symbol.
Do you know how
Ooh,
many
that's
people
also
were giving
true.
me a hard time about like how well the Guiles were doing this weekend? They were just like, yeah, you're just bad. Like these Guiles are crushing it, and then they ended up like 4-3 and 3-4.
If it does work for Sheepman, though, Sheepman likes charges.
Yeah.
I do like that. That he's like, I'll give it 2-2, and then I'll give it 2-2 more.
Yeah, it's
So-
pretty. Oh, wow.
It'd
That's
be
a beating.
nicer if he could use his once per turn again, but I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That would be
I will
sick,
certainly
dude.
ask Mr.
I will. If you can debuild your opponent too with this card, that's hype.
That is
Well,
super good.
You kind of just replace it with trash, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you still hit them. Then you hit them for like 9, and yeah, they die. They can't.
Yeah, Raiden can't use this.
Poor Raiden. All right, cool. Moving on. Okay, so my favorite attack out of his support. Reduction. Say 3 difficulty, 3 check, +1 mid block, 1 mid for 1. Breaker 2 and ranged. While this card is in your card pool, your other attacks get +2 speed, +2 damage, and your opponent is to be considered in desperation. E. If this attack is not blocked, you add the top card of your deck to your momentum. I instantly want to play Kolakhan Evil just because of this card. This card is super cool. It is neat. It gives, I think Barrett is frozen. We may have to get him back because he's in this perpetual smile mode. So we'll get him back. So yeah, that's my. It gives a little bit of defense for him too, since he's gonna be wanting to cut himself so much. But I don't know, like who blocks him 1 mid for 1? Like seriously. Well,
it depends.
Yeah.
I was sort of saying how like nobody plays stop. Man, you don't want to run this into a stop.
You definitely don't want to. So
like, this is sort of an interesting card. Like, I mean, for rando, I guess it's great because you just sort of, you're gonna give all your like when they're considered in desperation, you're gonna give all your checks +1 anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it basically doesn't count as progressive.
Yep.
But for other people, like that could be a little bit of like a detriment of just basically saying like, okay, well, all your stuff is gonna get like stats, and the desperation might not be like if you don't have things that sort of punish it, it's kind of like irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like, okay, well, I turned on like their face of a monster, or I turned
Scorpion.
on like, whatever other like katana or something is just like, oh well, I'll just like bounce an attack. I'm in desperation.
Well, what is it? Like if you're using
just normal.
Say you breaker block, you want to breaker block your opponent against like a scorpion. You're turning them into desperation. And he has 6 damage for free. So you really have to be careful.
Well,
when
you don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, man. Mistakes are made, so you couldn't technically that could end up happening. So,
yeah. But yeah, like there's definitely stuff that's worthwhile. I mean, I know someone was talking about it with Ghosty Funeral, and just like I'll give it like +2/+2, and they're considered in desperation, so I can like use the 4+ to like blow up a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't block it, then I have a momentum for Ghosty Funeral to discard. So
yeah, it's pretty good. It's a neat little combo. So let me see if I can get Barrett back, and then no, he can jump back in the call whenever. So boom.
And, I mean, there's other ways to add it.
Yeah.
At least for all, you have Power Cycle.
Yeah, Power. People are talking about that. There was another card that you could.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that seals it.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like. What's it like? The Stinging Upper and.
Well, just say like you're playing a Chaos deck and you Sensitive Adventure it in. You could do that. Yeah, you can try that too. Stinging Upper does it too. Yeah, you're right.
Well, but that seals it.
Oh, it seals it. That's true. Yes.
Although, what does it say? Does it add it and seal it? So maybe you would get +2/+2.
I don't know. I don't play that card. So.
I'm just saying, like. If it says while it's in your card pool, it does this. If you add it and then seal it, it would wouldn't it be the same as like a response? Like like it would basically add. You get the 2/2,
and then it would seal it. Yeah, gotcha. All right, so we're moving on to Foundations. Hiding in Plain Sight. It's a 2 difficulty 5 check +3 high block. E. Add this card to your momentum. If your opponent is at desperation, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. It's more momentum gen for his abilities, and it is something that I believe all
like Chaos lost a lot of this.
Yeah,
when
the snap momentum.
Yeah, like honestly, like when Jacket went, and I think there was something else that they had that they lost, and they've gotten a little bit of it recently. The Foundation from 7th Cross, Bug Zapper, I think.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like that's one that they sort of got back, and then this card, I guess they're gonna be losing like Strength of Tail, but whatever. Yeah. And I guess what's the other one that just went? The Skullman one.
Reactive Style.
So like they've lost some sort of like good like snap momentum, and so it's nice to see them getting some other stuff. Cause, Chaos
needs them
not in a great place, so like they could use the help.
But there is
getting some here. So
Kevin Broberg did play a sick Yoshimitsu Chaos deck on our Versus series, so those are coming out later in a couple weeks.
I think Chaos has some stuff. It's more just like
consistent stuff. Yeah. All right, we got Human Hunter. 1 difficulty 5 check, +3 mid block. R commit after your attack deals damage. Your next attack this turn gets +2 speed and 1 damage. Basically, it's another spam with a low block, which is kind of nice, but I don't know if you'd really... I think there's better, right? Unless you can re-ready this somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is just... I think this is stuff for cards that, you know, like some of the cards that are like, you want to have a speed and damage bonus.
True, yeah. That's basically it. It's just a standard, just a standard spam.
But it's like your next one, right?
Yeah, it's your next attack. It's only after your attack deals damage, too. So you have to be able to deal damage with it. So throwing like this into like a throw, you hit with a throw, do this, and then your next attack gets stuff. So you do that. Sadist, 2 difficulty, 4 check, no block. Static, if your opponent is at desperation, this card gets -2 difficulty, which is kind of neat. First F, destroy. Your opponent is considered to be at desperation for the end of the turn. First F, flip. If your opponent is at desperation, draw 2 cards. You may add one from your hand to your momentum. So, yep.
I gotta say, the card that this rotates that I'm most sad about is Dragon Cannon. Is having this out and just being like, first F, blow it up. You're considered to be in like desperation. And then just playing Dragon Cannon being like, I get +X damage.
Yeah.
Where X is your vitality minus like 8. You know, only playable if you're in desperation. It's like, okay, well, you're at full health. Here's something for your life total.
Yeah.
It's like, that would be awesome.
That would be some memes, man.
Unfortunately.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this is fine, and I guess you can sort of chain them too. You know, if you have one and you use it, and then they're in desperation till the rest of the turn, it's a 0 diff.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I kind of like these cards. Like it's a little bit like Novitiate.
Oh,
you know,
sure.
These sort of cards. It's like you have a couple different like first forms.
You have to pick and
you
choose.
can sort of pick which one you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like things that get like stuff reduced based on conditions.
Yeah, true. Okay. Now,
I guess the Guile one is just desperation, but there's what's his name has one, with the guns, Aaron Black.
Oh, Aaron Black. Oh yeah. People
like,
momentum.
If you have like momentum or something, it gets like -1 to like a difficulty and the black mod.
Yeah, and black mod. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's like some Outworld or Earthrealm Mercenary, something like that.
Earthrealm Mercenary or something.
Mercenary.
Something like that.
Okay, so he said, "Get me back in." I shouldn't have to get him back in. Oh, whatever. We're waiting for Barrett to come back, people. Before we do the last. Okay, there he is. He's back. Look at him. Yay, he's back.
My internet
Oh, it's fine. We're on True Identity now. Do you want to give your thoughts on the rest of the cards that you missed?
The 3 diff attack that I missed is crazy. If y'all didn't bring up Power Cycle already existing, then yep. That was pretty good. It's very reminiscent to Twinkle Murdoch's 3 diff, but way more generic, and you can put it anywhere.
Sure.
Like a better slaughterhouse, basically. Hiding in plain sight. Momentum generation for free, regardless of their opponent's at desperation, with a block on it, which is really important because almost all the other cards, like foundations that give you momentum, don't have blocks, or they're like unique. You can just play a bunch of these, and like it makes things like Firefly Gunner actually a better card. Human Hunter is a really good spam for all of these symbols, and it has a low block, so it's an offensive low block you can play. And all these other symbols, usually they're defensive ones, things like Strict Mentor under Evil and stuff like that. So I think it's really good that it has a low block for the spam. Sadist or stuff like that is probably the most interesting of his foundations. It doesn't have unique, so you can play a bunch of them, but it's only a first form, so you only get to 2 cards if they're desperation, and only once per turn, obviously. Or you can fulfill the while your opponent's a desperation thing. So I think it's cool. It's probably the weakest of his foundations, but it's really cool. And then we're at the unique.
Yeah, right. We're at what his best foundation is. I think it's his best foundation. So yeah, you can read it now that you're back.
True Identity, 2/5 with a 3 mid block, unique form. Commit. Your checks to play attacks get +1 for the rest of the turn. And then Rando Enhance, your attack gets 1/1, playable while committed.
Hey, they tied the two abilities together, which you didn't used to happen in older UFS. They used to be like you get one or the other.
Yeah, and it's unique, so you can't like go crazy with it. But
I mean, like you could easily have one, use it, play one, then play the most busted card in the world to bring it down and use it again. So
this card's really cool because of things like in any scenario where you get to ready this foundation, this card actually becomes crazy. And Wandering Pirates obviously under all, so like that's already another way we can do it. Free 1/1 on everything, not needing the momentum in the character is already good because of the requirement of needing stats on things.
Sure.
It has a block, so you're even okay with running more than one of this in your deck. Yeah, this card's really good.
It's really good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's good enough in not Rando.
I think so.
Crazy good in him.
Like what? Like you'd probably play that in Cassie, right? Why not?
Oh
like,
yeah,
it'd be amazing.
Fuck yeah.
Just playing Cassie, it'd be great. Yeah.
It's like shoving one of your committed foundations to bring in this one readied onto your next form. Just commit it. It's like you replaced the committed foundation, but now for me to play my string with shit in my card pool gets better.
Yeah.
For the whole turn. It's things like this that make it like, even though not over yet rotates, maybe we should still play all. Or even like that fucking 3-diff. God, that 3-diff is like, in Cassie specifically because you brought it up. Affliction was a good one. Dijonette's right. Speaking of which, Dijonette's actually crazy with all these cards. Affliction's good in Cassie. This one's crazy. Yeah.
Okay. So overall thoughts on Rando, everyone. Okay, go. I want to do some. Out of 10 stars, how many?
Here's my take.
Take your hot take.
I think he's an okay character that has like really good support.
Oh, so
I guess Barrett's probably just gonna win nationals with him.
Is he gonna get the Cassie treatment? Is that what it is? Are we talking Cassie treatment now? He's that guy.
I think
it looks like it.
This is a guy that's like, I want to play almost every card in my kit. But
this is nice for. I'm looking at things at Ready stuff. This is nice for like Remolis.
Yeah. I'm actually playing Remolis right now. I'm playing the Air Ace Maneuver one, and that deck is crazy fun, actually.
Well, I mean, I guess it's all, but yeah, like it sort of gives like a nice thing where you're sort of worried about like the progressive for her, like that her character's at. So if you just commit this and then bring it on a character and ready it and do it again, like all your checks for attacks are like +2, like that helps.
It sounds pretty
a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And like, plus she draws more cards anyway, so like you don't have to put all the draw stuff in there. Yeah, I totally agree. And you still get Wandering Pirate under there as well. Yeah, I don't know if she's Cassie treatment, but I do see this character, and he's like, I want to play almost every card in my support, which is good. Like that means you have good support. But I think this actually also just opens up like this kind of generic good card support for Chaos is actually crazy, because Chaos to me is this really awkward symbol right now where it's like, I want to do this one thing, but like a bunch of cards do this other thing, or I synergize only with this character, where it's like, this is just generic good stuff for the symbol. Which means you don't have to play a character like Yoshimitsu and play a ton of weapons just to play Chaos.
Yeah.
Or you have to play Zolt and you have to play on multiple cards just to play Chaos. Like, you can play Eugenia, who is a 720 that does a generically cool thing, and we have generically cool cards for her now.
I get that. I like that take. I like both your takes. I don't really have a take yet, so sorry.
You know what card I'm laughing at right now? Is Flipcat. Because if they have like, if you have like the thing where they're in desperation and you have like the foundation where it's like, oh, add this to your momentum. And if they're in like desperation, get another momentum. And Flipcat will give you a third momentum for free.
Nice.
So that's good.
Yeah.
But it also has the, like, if you have at least one ready a foundation that hasn't been ready, sure, I'll do that. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Good job.
Maybe people will start playing that card.
Okay, so we go with
You
random.
can play new Felicia and anybody.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
With Flip Cat and the unique.
So moving on, the question that Tim Keefe had is, with all these new IPs, should they just abandon Red Horizon?
Whoa.
I wouldn't.
Whoa. I would not. Why? It's free.
I mean, like, it's just the question he posed. Should they just abandon Red Horizon?
Honestly,
Because let me get in. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Let me finish. Because
Okay.
the way the people who have said they've talked to Jason have gotten the set release schedule is that it will go UU, Mystery Set, MHA, Red Horizon Origins, which would be the new it would rotate Blood Omen, which would have basically it'd be a new core set. So it would replace what Blood Omen would lose because it would rotate Blood Omen out.
Okay.
So should they still keep doing that? Like I think they should have one Red Horizon set in standard at a time. I love Red Horizon. I think it's a great IP. I think it's they have interesting characters. Hashtag Vespera 3 dot. But I think that they need to do it in the new branding, not in UFS.
I think it's a really hard question because I agree and I see where Tim Keefe is coming from. If we're gonna have crazy IPs like My Hero or Yu Yu Hakusho or even like Soul Calibur and like keeping room for these big names, you're right. It's really hard to like. Well, I like Red Horizon too. I think the character's really cool, even though it's like really hard to find actual lore on them and like the actual story. Like even that does and like I think that's part of the problem. Like because it's not so solidified yet, it's hard to get really attached to it.
Yeah.
I like the art. I like all this other cool stuff. But I agree if we want to like take this game to a whole nother level, people don't want to play a card game where you have to buy cards from something they've never heard of
to hear the story,
to play the game.
Yeah.
And if this new design philosophy for power level stays with UniVersus, like the cards in that set are going to be powerful, and people are going to have to play them if they want to do well. And that means they have to buy cards from a set that they don't give a crap about.
Sure.
It's really cool for the other UFS players because that's all, like Jasco brought this game back with Red Horizon, and I fell in love with Red Horizon just in general because I like the art and like the cool lore stuff that Mason was telling me was awesome. But like, it's the same idea where it's like if this game kicks off so crazy with these new IPs, maybe it's even like we don't get to do things like Seventh Cross anymore. Like we just can't. Like we don't have room in standard. We don't have room on the list of really important IPs to put it in anymore.
Yeah, very true. They could end up say they do that. They could just release some characters as promos.
Yeah, it could easily be promos.
Yeah.
Like, and I like that idea way more. Freaking Miles is trying to get some cool stuff for his PTC coming up about that, and I think that's a really cool way to do it. Say because it's not my announcement to make. I don't know if he has it.
I don't remember if he did it in the video or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting. It poses a really weird thing because it's a free IP.
Yeah.
Why not
the thing is like, I feel like I wouldn't for that sort of reason. Like the same sort of thing of just like, it's always a set. Like you don't have to worry about approvals. You don't have to worry about like fighting over it. Like, and you know maybe some of it is that they sort of like haven't developed it that much. You know, so that it is such sort of a, you know, sort of like, oh, well, this is cool. Like, where can I find out about whatever? And you're just like, like you know, there's no real like lore, you know, that's that
there's like character bios and a short story on the website. That's pretty much it.
But at the same time, like that is like sort of a good point. Whereas like especially if like you know, if like My Hero like just blows up, like is that really like the second set? You know, like if everybody's like hyped for like My Hero Academia, and it's like, oh yeah, and it's like the second set is like Red Horizon, and like all these people are just like, what?
Like that's definitely like if My Hero blows up, the second set should be the second Yu Yu Hakusho set.
Yeah.
Or like this, we're supposed to get this bigger Soul Calibur set kind of thing. Like there's a bunch of stuff that's like whispers and other bull crap. Like I don't even know. Like we're supposed to get another Street Fighter set. Like where the heck is that? Like like all this other crap. Maybe that's when DLC packs need to happen. Like there's a ton of things, and I agree. I don't think Red Horizon is that one.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, like, I like Red Horizon. Like, honestly, like, I think that they don't use it enough in the current game. Like, I feel like having only one set in like a 10 set standard is sort of doing like a disservice to like property like of the company, where like, you know, they should, like, they could easily sort of have like a Red Horizon set like once a year. You know, they could be like, at least now, you know, in the future, maybe not. And yeah, like, I think that it would maybe make more sense to sort of like end of the year or like start of the second year, just because of like the whole thing of like, you know, this like new launch. Like, it makes more sense to continue with like some of those licenses.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I would abandon it completely.
Okay.
But,
all right. Well, thank you for your opinions.
Ooh,
what?
I have one more question because I brought up Vanguard. In the UniVersus, do you see a world where there isn't a rotation? Every set's legal always.
I mean,
maybe.
And that means, and the reason why I say that is because it opens up set design. It means that exactly what we're talking about here with Red Horizon, you can release things like extra boosters, where they're not like full sets. They're like 40 card sets or whatever, and they come with like X amount of characters or X amount of cards of support. But the problem with having a set like that in the way that the game is right now is, does that rotate something, or does it just sit as like an extra set, basically?
right.
But in a world where you get to put a new name on this game, rebrand it, make a new game, if all the cards equal the same power level, and we find a way, obviously, as like we get to like more than 10 sets, it can become really crazy because there's just so many cards per symbol. Mm-hmm. But like, is there a world where you don't rotate?
So here's the thing. I don't like. It's sort of like Chris said with like, I really liked the model that Versus System had. Not UniVersus, but they had like 3 formats, which were Modern, Silver, and Golden, which are like named after, you know, various like comics things. And you had Modern, which was the last 4 sets, and like it even started out as Marvel Modern and DC Modern, which were the last 2 sets of like those games. And then they combined it all into one, where it was just the last 4. And then they had Silver, which was the last 8. And they had Golden, which was everything. And they would sort of like, you know, they would just sort of be things where they're like, hey, like, this event that's coming up is going to be this format.
Yep.
And, you know, like, or like the, like, PT, like, they didn't, not PTC, they had PTQs,
PTQs,
you know, Pro Tour qualifiers. And so they'd be like, all right, guys, like, all of the PTQs for, like, third quarter of this year are going to be Silver.
Yeah, they had the
you know, or maybe it'd be something where they're like, hey, like, this PC event that we have coming up is going to be like Modern.
Yep.
And so like, you know, you would sort of like build based on like what the current format was, and like, and especially like Silver and Modern were always sort of interesting because they changed. You know, they would just, but you also had things where like there might be something new that came out, and all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, like in Golden, like this deck is sick because it just got this like infusion of like new cards that you can play in it.
Yeah.
So like, I think if it gets big enough, it's just like sort of like if it gets big enough, you can reasonably support multiple formats. So like, I could definitely see a format that there is no rotation, but I don't think that I would ever have like that being the only format, because I think if that's it, like that sort of hurts that always hurts new players coming in.
Yeah,
because it means that they have to track down so much stuff.
Yeah,
and like, and it might just be stuff that you can't get. You know, I mean, unless you're going to be like renewing some of these licenses like forever, you know, like there's going to be a time where it's like, well, we can't like reprint, you know, this anymore, or that print run is sold out, and like you can't find like this garden, like you can't find sealed product for this set anymore.
Yeah, I do, and that is a problem for a game like that. So I do understand.
So I think I would always have something that was just like, honestly, like the issue with Turbo, I think, was more it's more the difference of like deck formats. You know, like the fact that it's 40, the fact that it's not the same game at all. It's not that it's a smaller card pool. It's that it's really like a different game in addition to a different card pool. I think if like Turbo had been something more that it was like it's still 60 plus, and it's just like best of 3 60 plus. It's just that it's 4 sets instead of like 10. I think there would have been a lot more support for it, like even continued, because I think it'd just sort of be something where it's like, okay, like this is something that's accessible for like these people. And like some of it too, obviously when it changed and like all the new cards were like more powerful than the old ones, like by and large,
playing new stuff anyway.
you were basically playing like Turbo. You were basically playing like that stuff anyway, because there were very few cards from the old sets that really made it in, and they were often things that weren't like necessarily essential.
Yeah, I'm sure Chris wants to go to his local though.
I'm okay. Well, I just letting them know that I'll be a little late. But
the other thing is too, because you brought it up, and the way that Versus sounded like as well, is the Magic style, which is every other year every year you swap back and forth between your 2 supported formats. So like this year, all the competitive events are modern. Next year, all the competitive events are standard. Could you see that for here? This year, all competitive events are Jasco Eternal. Next year, all competitive events are UniVersus.
Sure.
It could be.
Like I can see that. I mean, I
think it's a full for like, and then it's always changing because Jasco Eternal's getting sets every time a new set comes out, but UniVersus, what that year was when they get those 4 sets that year or whatever, well, then it's not supported, but you can still practicing it, and those 4 are gone. You have a full new 8 basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I could definitely see doing that, and like you probably want to do it by year instead of just like, I mean, what they did was a little crazy. If it's just sort of like they would do it either for like
a quarter,
half years or quarters or stuff,
yeah,
and so you really almost have to know like what format is this even that I'm building for? What format is this event that I'm going to show up for? Like, and you might not even know, if it's like the start of if it's January and you're like, oh, I'm going to figure out my travel plans and my time off for like this PTC in like October. And then like, July rolls around and you're like, wait, the format is what? Like, it's like, oh, the format's Eternal? Like, I don't have those cards. Like,
I would also say with the rebrand, it'd be a good time to move Nationals and Worlds. Move Nationals to the beginning of the year, move Worlds to the end of the year. Since we still have no idea if we're having Worlds at Level Up next year, we don't know.
The other thing, too, is that, like, especially if you're doing a format that's newer cards, moving Worlds to the end of the year gives you the opportunity that
more sets.
The format's a little bigger. So it's not just going to be like, wouldn't just be like 1 or 2 sets. Or it would be a lot easier to have a Worlds that is just new sets.
Yeah, here's one of the things, too. I know a lot of people haven't, like speaking of which is like Level Up Expos in February this year, right? So, or this next coming year.
Yeah.
And so people aren't sure if that's where Worlds is going to be. I think honestly, for 2 reasons why they haven't given us clarity on it yet is all of this new announcement stuff. They might not even be able to hold this event at Level Up Expo anymore because they're going to need a bigger spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's part of the consideration is like, and what you're talking about on shifting dates is they might have to finally suck it up and like rent out a hotel and get the convention centers.
Or they could be going back to GenCon if it's big enough.
I still think that part of the issue with GenCon is
it's the cost,
it's a
man.
Big cost.
Oh, it is.
And like I know, like the people who go to GenCon, like I mean, I saw like Garrett's like itinerary of just like I'm gonna play in this and this and this and the other thing, and I'm gonna like go through the dealer hall and like hit up these booths and do all this stuff.
How he's hitting the dealer hall.
If you are someone who really enjoys, like I've never been to GenCon, like I don't really.
It's
plan
fun
on
if
going
you're
to
not
GenCon.
playing in a bunch of events. I mean, it's like if you're not playing like one game all weekend, like UFS usually does, is you don't get to do anything other than UFS. GenCon's awesome. But if you're stuck there playing one game all the whole time, it's a little rough.
If you're going to GenCon and you're going to have like basically like one event that's going to take up the entire thing, like why is it a GenCon?
Yeah, very true.
You know what I mean? Like it's just it's one thing if it's like we have this big tournament at GenCon. Sure, like I mean you could have like a PTC at GenCon. Like you could have like something like that or something smaller. Or like you could have done like Turbo Worlds.
Jasco Eternal format event at GenCon.
Maybe. It just depends. Like you want it to be something that's basically like probably one day, or at most it's going to be like
a couple hours.
The most of one day, and then you'll have the tops the next day, and it's not going to take forever.
Very true. Very true.
because like the whole point is like, right, you want, if you're gonna go to Gen Con, you probably want to do Gen Con stuff. You don't want to like spend
Oh,
a
no, for
bazillion dollars to
I
go to
agree.
Gen Con for multiple days just to play in one tournament.
Fully agree.
So
All right.
Either way, things have to change because change is coming.
Yeah. I think it's going to be good change too. I don't think it's going to be bad change. So I hope.
Yeah, Rob, don't. It's not bebop where you thought it's bad change. It was good change, okay?
At the time, hey man, I thought it was bad at the time too. So you know.
it was
I mean, I
rough.
was frustrated,
It's
like
very-
I couldn't build a deck, but I knew it was good for the game. Like,
yeah, I knew too.
in the long run.
Long
And here we
run.
are, like 4 sets later.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
All right, cool. All right, so catch us out. Catch me at GenCon. So if you have any questions about Rockford CCG stuff, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Let us know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, let us know your predictions, stuff like that. So
I did like the one thread that you posted, and everyone had their sort of like take of who was going to do well at the PTC and whatever.
yeah.
That was cool.
That was cool. I like that. So that was neat.
Oh, you opened up our like draft thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To the public.
And someone thought they were gonna win stuff. It's like, I don't give things away to you people. You have to play contests. Oh, by the way, there's that contest still going on.
We get free stuff from our parent company.
I know, for real. So again, like, comment, subscribe, share it to groups. Please hit the Patreon up. We get early access to content, and you help us out at the channel a lot. And I guess we'll see you at Gen Con for myself, and we'll see you guys next time on the Guile Treatment. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.